Hey there everyone, it's Katie from Addicted to DIY, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how to build this beautiful two-toned farmhouse cabinet. I started by cutting 3/4 inch plywood down into manageable pieces using my circular saw and crosscut sled. Then I ripped the pieces down to size using my table saw. The cabinet bottom needs 3/4 inch notches on the front two corners to fit around the face frame, so I marked them with a pencil, then cut them out using my jigsaw. I pre-drilled all of my pocket holes for the cabinet pieces before beginning assembly. For the cabinet sides, I glued and nailed 1x2 boards to the front edges, flush with the outside face of the cabinet side. To assemble the cabinet box, I lined up the top piece of the face frame flush with the top edges of the cabinet and glued and clamped the pieces together. I attached them together using 1 1/4 inch pocket screws. To install the bottom molding, I dry fit the cabinet bottom and clamped it into place. This set the proper width for the cabinet box. I cut my 1x4 molding down to size, gluing and nailing it into place with 1 1/4 inch brad nails around all sides. Next, it was time to attach the cove molding. Again, I cut it down to size, then glued and nailed it into place with 3/4 inch brad nails. Once the molding was in place, I set the cabinet bottom flush with the top edge of the cove molding. I secured it with clamps and attached it from the underside with 1 1/4 inch pocket screws. Now I was able to finish nailing the cove molding into place in the front of the cabinet. For the top of the cabinet, I again cut molding to size, securing it with glue and 1 1/4 inch brad nails. The cabinet top is also made of 3/4 inch plywood, which I finished off with veneer edge banding. I ironed it in place, smoothed it out with scrap wood, then trimmed the excess off. I used my shelf pin jig to drill holes into the inside face of the cabinet sides to allow for an adjustable shelf. For the doors, I used 1x3 red oak. I drilled 3/4 inch pocket holes into the 6-inch rails for assembly. I assembled the cabinet doors with wood glue and 1 1/4 inch fine thread pocket screws. I pre-drilled 3/4 inch pocket holes into the top ends of the cabinet sides. I centered the cabinet top over the box and attached it with 1 1/4 inch pocket screws. For the cabinet back, I used 1/8 inch hardboard backing and attached it in place with 3/4 inch narrow crown staples. To finish the cabinet off, I filled all of the nail holes with wood filler and sanded it down with 220 grit sandpaper. I strained my paint, then painted the entire piece with my paint sprayer. I chose Swiss coffee for the color to match the trim color in my house. I wanted the doors to have a weathered oak look. I stained them with Minwax Special Walnut Stain, then applied a white wax to the fronts and backs of the doors. Once buffed, the wax sat in the deep grooves of the oak, giving it a great weathered finish. Once the paint was dry, the doors were ready to be attached. I used inset hinges and 1/8 inch spacing all around for the doors. I then centered the knobs on the doors and attached them using my cabinet hardware jig. For the door faces, I used 1/4 inch wire mesh, which I cut down to size and attached in place with 5/8 inch narrow crown staples. The staples should hold the mesh securely, but not plunge too deep into the wood or it will break right through the mesh. The end result is a beautiful farmhouse cabinet with clean lines and a gorgeous weathered finish on the doors. To get the full plans and tutorial for this project, head over to Ryobi Nation. You can find the link in the project description. Also be sure to subscribe to my channel for more project tutorials just like this.